the Virgo Potens YouTube channel. If you enjoy this video, I invite you to visit the Virgo Potens website at virgopotens.org. Virgo Potens has articles, traditional Latin Mass resources, transcribed sermons, prayers in English and Latin, narrated videos of the Dolorous Passion of our Lord Jesus Christ by Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich, and a spiritual warfare page. I offer the content on the website and YouTube channel for free, but this work is a full-time apostolate, and your support is needed. Please prayerfully consider supporting my work by praying for me, becoming a patron of Virgo Potens on Patreon, and or by purchasing one of my ebooks. If you'd prefer to give me a one-time contribution, I suggest that you do so by buying one of my ebooks. Links to my ebooks, as well as to Patreon, can be found at virgopotens.org. May the Virgin Most Powerful guide and protect you. The glorious Virgin will rebuild the Church. The following text comes from Prophecies and Revelations by St. Bridget of Sweden, Book 1, Chapters 5 through 8. Narration by Tony Capobianco. The loving words of Christ to his bride in the wonderful parable of a lovely castle, which signifies the Holy Church militant, and about how the Church of God will be rebuilt by the prayers of the glorious Virgin and of the saints. Chapter 5. Quote, I am the Creator of all things, I, the King of glory and the Lord of angels. I built for myself a lovely castle and placed my chosen men in it. But my enemies undermined the foundation and overpowered my friends, so much so that the marrow is violently forced out of my friends' feet as they sit chained to the wooden stocks. Their mouth is beaten by stones, and they are tortured by hunger and thirst. Moreover, enemies are persecuting their Lord. My friends are now praying with tears and groans for help, and justice is calling for vengeance, but mercy says to forgive. End quote. Then God said to his heavenly host that stood around him, What do you think about these who have conquered my castle? They all answered as with one voice, O Lord, all justice is in you, and in you we see all things. You are without beginning and without end, the Son of God, and all judgment is given to you. You are their judge. He answered, Although you know and see all things in me, still, for the sake of my bride who stands here, tell me the just sentence. They said, This is justice, that those who undermine the wall shall be punished as thieves, that those who persist in evil should be punished as intruders and violent criminals, and that those who are captive should be freed, and the hungry be filled. Then Mary, the Mother of God, who until now had remained silent, spoke. O my Lord and most dear Son, you were in my womb as true God and man. By your grace you sanctified me, who was but an earthen vessel. I beg you, have mercy on them once more. Then the Lord answered his mother, Blessed be the words of your mouth, that ascend like a sweet fragrance to God. You are the queen and glory of angels and all saints, because by you, God and all the saints are made happy. Because your will was as my own from the beginning of your youth. I will do as you wish once more. Then he said to the host of saints, Because you have fought manfully, and for the sake of your love, I will let myself be appeased for now. Behold, I will rebuild my wall because of your prayers. I will liberate and heal those who were oppressed by force, and honor them 100-fold for the indignity that they have endured. But if the violators and wrongdoers pray for my mercy, I will give them peace and mercy. However, those who despise my mercy will feel my justice. Then he said to his bride, My bride, I have chosen you and brought you into my spirit. You hear my words, and those of my saints. Although the saints see all things in me, nevertheless they have spoken for your sake, so that you might understand, since you, who are still in the flesh, cannot see all things in me, in the same way as they who are spirits. I will now also show you what all these things signify. The castle I spoke about previously is the Holy Church and the souls of Christians, which I built with my own blood and that of the saints. I cemented and jointed it with my love and placed my friends and chosen men in it. The foundation is true faith, that is, to believe that I am a righteous and merciful judge. Now, however, this foundation is undermined because all believe and preach that I am merciful, but almost no one preaches or believes me to be a righteous judge. They view me as an unjust judge. Unjust and unrighteous indeed would the judge be who, out of mercy, allowed the unrighteous to go unpunished, so that they could oppress the righteous even more. But I am a righteous and merciful judge, for I do not let even the least sin go unpunished, nor the least good go unrewarded. By the undermining of this wall's foundation, there entered into the Holy Church people who sin without fear, who deny that I am a righteous judge, and who torment my friends as severely as those who are placed in the stocks. My friends have no joy or consolation given to them, but instead every kind of mockery and torment are inflicted upon them, as if they were possessed by the devil. When they tell the truth about me, they are rejected and accused of lying. They have a fervent desire to hear or speak the truth about me, but there is no one who listens to them or speaks the truth to them. And I, the Lord and Creator of all things, am being blasphemed and rejected, for they say, "We do not know if he is God, and if he is God, we do not care." They overthrow my banner and trample it under their feet, calling out, "Why did he suffer? What benefit is it to us? If he wants to satisfy our lust and will, it is enough for us. He may keep his kingdom and heaven." I want to go into them, but they say, "We would rather die before giving up our own will." Behold, my bride, what kind of people they are. I made them, and I could destroy and damn them with a word if I wanted to. How bold and arrogant they are toward me. But because of the prayers of my mother and of all the saints, I am still so merciful and patient that I will send them the words of my mouth and offer them my mercy. If they want to accept it, I will be appeased. Otherwise, they will come to know my justice and be publicly humiliated like thieves in front of all the angels and men, and be judged by every one of them. For just as the men who are hanged on gallows are devoured by ravens, they will also be devoured by demons, yet not die. Just as those who are punished in the stocks have no rest, they too will have pain and bitterness all around them. The most burning river will flow into their mouths, but their bellies will not be filled, and their punishment will be renewed each day. But my friends will be redeemed and consoled by the words that come from my mouth. They will see my justice joined with my mercy. I will clothe them in the weapons of my love and make them so strong that the adversaries of the faith will fall back like filth and feel ashamed for all eternity when they see my justice. Yes, they will surely be ashamed for having abused my patience. The words of Christ to his bride about how his spirit cannot remain with the unrighteous, and about the separation of the unrighteous from the good, and how good men, armed with spiritual weapons, are sent to war against the world. Chapter 6. Quote, "My enemies are like the most violent beasts that can never be filled or have rest. Their heart is so empty of my love that they never allow the thought of my suffering into it, and not once has a word like this been uttered by their inmost heart. O Lord, you have redeemed us. May you be praised for your bitter suffering. How could my spirit remain with the people who have no divine love for me, and who willingly betray others in order to satisfy their own will? Their heart is full of vile worms, that is, full of worldly desires. The devil has left his filth in their mouths, and that is why my words do not please them. Therefore, I will sever them from my friends with my saw, and just as there is no more bitter way to die than to be sawn asunder, so there will not be a punishment in which they will not partake. They will be sawn in two by the devil, and separated from me. They are so abhorrent to me that all who cling to them and agree with them will also be severed from me. Therefore, I send out my friends in order that they might separate the devils from my members, for they are truly my enemies. I send my friends like knights to war. Anyone who mortifies and subdues his flesh and abstains from forbidden things is my true knight. For their lance they will have the words that I spoke with my own mouth, and, in their hands, the sword of the true faith. Their breasts will be covered with the armor of love, so that no matter what happens to them, they will love me no less. They shall have the shield of patience at their side, so that they may suffer and endure all things patiently. I have enclosed them like gold in a vessel. They should now go forth and walk in my ways. According to the ways of justice, I could not enter into the glory of majesty without suffering tribulation in my human nature. So then, how else will they enter into it? If their Lord endured pain and suffering, it is not surprising that they also suffer. If their Lord endured beatings and torture, it is not too much for them to endure words and contradictions. They should not fear, for I will never abandon them. Just as it is impossible for the devil to touch and divide the heart of God, so it is impossible for the devil to separate them from me. And since they are like the purest gold in my sight, I will never abandon them, even though they are tested with a little fire, for the fire is given to them for their greater reward and happiness. End quote. The words of the glorious Virgin to St. Bridget about how to dress and with what kind of clothes and ornaments her daughter should be adorned and clothed. Chapter 7. Quote, I am Mary, who gave birth to the Son of God and true man. I am the Queen of angels. My Son loves you with all of his heart. Therefore you should love him. You should be adorned with the most proper clothes, and I will show you how and what kind they should be. Just as before you had an undershirt, a shirt, shoes, a cloak, and a brooch on your chest, so now you shall have spiritual clothes. The undershirt you shall have is contrition for your sins. For just as an undershirt is closest to the body, so contrition and confession are the first way of conversion to God. Through these the mind, which once enjoyed sin, is purified, and the unchaste flesh restrained from evil lusts. The two shoes are two intentions, namely, the will to make amendment for your past sins, and the will to do good and refrain from evil. Your shirt is hope in God, and just as a shirt has two sleeves, so may justice and mercy be paired with your hope, so that you will hope for the mercy of God, yet not forget his justice. Think about his justice and harsh judgment in such a way that you do not forget his mercy. For he does not work justice without mercy, or mercy without justice. The cloak is faith, for just as the cloak covers everything and everything is enclosed in it, man can likewise comprehend and attain all things by faith. This cloak should be decorated with the tokens of your bridegroom's love, namely, how he created you, how he redeemed you, how he raised you and led you into his spirit and opened your spiritual eyes. The brooch which should always be on your chest is the frequent consideration of his suffering, how he was mocked and scourged, how he stood alive on the cross, bloody and wounded in all his limbs, how in death his whole body shook from the most bitter pain and anguish, and how he commended his spirit into the hands of his Father. May this brooch always be on your chest. There should also be a crown on your head, which means that you should be chaste in your desires, so much so that you would rather endure a beating and pain than to be further stained. Therefore, be modest and polite, and do not think about or desire anything but your God and Creator. For when you have him, you have everything. Adorned in this way, you shall await your bridegroom. End quote. The words of the Queen of Heaven to her beloved daughter, St. Bridget, teaching her how she should love and praise the Son of God together with his Blessed Mother. Chapter 8. Quote, I am the Queen of Heaven. You are concerned about how you should praise and honor me. Know and be certain that all praise of my Son also is praise of me, and those who dishonor him also dishonor me. This is so because I loved him, and he loved me so ardently that both of us were like one heart. He so magnificently honored me, who was an earthen vessel, that he raised me above all the angels. Therefore, you should praise me like this. Blessed be you, God, creator of all things, who deigned to descend into the womb of the Virgin Mary. Blessed be you, God, who wished to be within the Virgin Mary without burdening her, and deigned to take immaculate flesh from her without sin. Blessed be you, God, who came to the Virgin, bringing joy to her soul and her whole body, and who went out of her without sin, to the joy of her whole body. Blessed be you, God, who after your heavenly ascension gladdened the Virgin Mary, your mother, with continuous comforts and visited her with your consolation. Blessed be you, God, who assumed the body and soul of the Virgin Mary, your mother, into heaven and honorably placed her above all the angels next to your divinity. Have mercy on me for the sake of all her prayers. End quote. End of chapters 5 through 8 of Book 1 from Prophecies and Revelations by St. Bridget of Sweden. If you enjoyed this video, I invite you to check out the Virgo Potens website at virgopotens.org and to check out the Saints page, where you can read more of the works of the saints.